You hunted hard all season and you were successful, and now you have a freezer full of ground venison. You got recipes that you make all the time, but you want to try something new. How about some delicious, cheesy, easy to make, homemade Venison Helper? Let's start by getting our burner going and set it just under a medium heat. Okay, we have our pan heating up right now, just under a medium heat on the burner, and I want to throw in about a tablespoon of butter. We're going to start off by sauteing the mushrooms and the onions. We're going to do our mushrooms first because they're a little bit more on the firm side. I didn't mention this in the video description, but I always like a little tiny bit of olive oil mixed in with my butter. Just gives everything a little bit more lubrication and just a slightly different flavor. Let's get those cooking down real nice. A few minutes on the heat and then we'll throw the onions in. Okay, our mushrooms are starting to brown slightly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add 1 more tablespoon of butter because it's looking a little dry. You can just add butter and or olive oil as you go, however much you feel it needs. And I'm going to go ahead and throw in our diced onion. Get this all nice and happy and cooked up, caramelized, however you say it. What we're going to do, we're just going to cook this down, let them keep browning. I want the onions nice and caramelized, reduced. I want the mushrooms really caramelized and reduced. And then from there, we'll start working on our venison. If you need to adjust your burner during the cooking process, don't be afraid to do that. I think I'm actually going to turn mine up like 1 notch. Get a little bit more heat going. Starting to smell really good. See the onions starting to brown a little bit now. Get everything spread out and flat so everything gets an opportunity to cook. And it will continue cooking throughout the whole recipe, but we want to get a good caramelization on these onions and these mushrooms. It just adds so much more flavor to the recipe. Okay. Oh yeah, look at that. Nice color on the back of those mushrooms. Give them a flip. So right now I'm going to turn my heat down to low. I'm going to go get my venison drained, get the package ready to be dropped in, and get my seasonings ready. Okay, I drained a lot of the excess blood off the venison burger. So what we're going to do is we're just going to pull the onions and mushrooms to the side here. Take a 1 pound of venison burger, put it in the pan. And add our seasonings. Don't worry, it'll all mix together just fine. If you want to break it up before you put the seasoning on, you can do that too. See, it's just easier to just pull the mushrooms and the onions to the side and then just throw the venison in instead of having to remove them and then put them back in at a later time. You could do that if you wanted to, though. Just keep chopping this venison down. Work it all the way to a nice brown. Don't forget to occasionally stir your onions and your mushrooms. You don't want the stuff on the bottom getting overcooked versus the stuff on the top. Just work that spatula in there and give it a nice little tear. Break it up into smaller burger-like pieces. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just spread this all around now because that's all nice and browned. Get that all mixed in there. Next we're going to add our Lipton recipe secret. We're going to sift it in because this stuff has chunks of onion in it and we already have onion in here. We just want the seasoning itself. Just go ahead and sift that all in there till we get it just down to the onions. You might lose a couple onions here and there, it ain't gonna hurt anything. Work your fingers through there, make sure you get any loose stuff. Man, that's good. Give it a stir. Next thing you're going to want to do is add in your beef broth. That's going to slow that cooking process down a little bit and give that broth time to get in there and help flavor and soak up the flavors of everything we put in so far. And then from there, we're going to add our diced tomatoes and corn, drained, of course. We don't need all that liquid in there. In goes the drained sweet corn. Don't worry if you get a little bit of liquid from the can in there, it's not going to hurt anything. Diced tomato. Next we're going to add our half a cup of heavy cream. If you don't want to use heavy whipping cream, you could use milk as a substitute. Let's get that in there nice and good. There we go. Get that nice and mixed in there. Pull from the outside edges in so that you get a good mix. That heavy cream and that beef broth and all that other flavor. Looking nice. Okay, as this is starting to heat back up, we're going to go ahead and start adding our cheese in. The reason that we slice it is so that you can just do a couple pieces at a time. I'm not going to get it all this time, but I'm going to let that get in and get melted and everything, then I'll add this later. You can even break it up to speed up the process a little bit. You can see there's some of the cheese right there. That's melting in very nice. If you don't want to use Velveeta cheese, you don't have to. You can use 8 ounces of your favorite shredded cheddar, or if you want to mix it up and go with provolone, or however you want to do it. We like the Velveeta because we like how quick it melts and the flavor that it gives to this dish specifically. But you don't have to use it if you don't like it. Let's get the rest of that cheese in there. I wish you could smell this right now, but you can't. So if you want to, you're going to have to make it yourself. Once I feel all the cheese is nice and melted, I'm going to go ahead and add in my macaroni noodles. It's going to help soak up some of this liquid and just be the finishing touch on our homemade venison helper here. So, noodles going in. Spin them around real nice like that. A couple stragglers. Turn our heat down for a little bit. Turn to get a little bit too hot. Okay, on a simmering heat at this stage, now that we got the noodles down in there and everything, we're going to go for 8 minutes. Just let it, you don't want a heavy boil, just a nice light simmer. Alright, there's our timer. Get it off the heat. Kill that burner. I spilled a little bit, you shouldn't do that. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you get an opportunity to make this at home. So good.